is the Serpentini Chevrolet Sports Report on 19 Action News.
Welcome to the Sports Report, everybody. I'm Ashley Bastock. Well, we asked for it, and now it's finally here, the college football playoffs, and Ohio State is ready for Alabama. Despite two dismantling wins this past week over both Golden State and the Celtics, head coach David Blatt, LeBron James, and Kyrie Irving all agreed that the Cavs are not yet playoff ready. Talk about the work that Kevin put in offensively before coming into this game. Already was in the gym getting a lot of shots up and everything.
Well, I didn't know, but it paid off for sure. And we need Kev to play at a high level. Obviously, making 7 out of 8 from 3 will be a huge plus. But we know he can shoot the ball, and we expect a lot out of him. And he gave us everything he had tonight. That was great.
So your team obviously faced some adversity there in the second half, but can you talk a little bit about what you guys were telling them on the sidelines, and particularly what happened during that last drive to get the stop? Good evening, Cleveland. It is dress rehearsal night for the Cleveland Browns as they take on the Indianapolis Colts in preseason game number 3. And finally, sometimes it is possible to go home again. After weeks of speculation, LeBron James announced Friday via a letter in Sports Illustrated that he would be returning home to Cleveland, Ohio, and rejoin the Cavaliers after 4 years with the Miami Heat. James agreed to a 2-year, $42.1 million deal with the team. Paul George is now resting comfortably after undergoing surgery Saturday. The Indiana Pacers star suffered a gruesome compound fracture in his lower leg during the U.S. national team's intra-squad scrimmage on Friday. While this choice may have come as a surprise for fans, GM Chris Grant says Bennett was in the mix all along. And also Jimmy Haslam with the Pilot Flying J scandal. And exactly what's going to happen with the ownership to this team, Jimmy Haslam answered that here today. Well, hopefully the Indians' bats arrived from Anaheim overnight because they were missing last night against the Minnesota Twins. But when Swisher was asked about the Indians' chances at making the playoffs, he responded, "Why not?" Welcome back for segment number 2 of Sports Roulette, the show where the topics are always a revolving game of chance. I'm your host, Ashley Bastock. The rest of the Rocky River class of 2013 will be graduating Friday night. It's the 3rd day of training camp here in Berea, but due to inclement weather and field conditions, the Browns were forced to practice inside. Swisher has had a powerful bat as of late, and manager Terry Francona says that's no accident. Athletes will continue to play contact sports. However, as medical professionals continue to learn about the negative side effects of concussions, maybe it will change the way we perceive those who suffer from them. Signing off, I'm Ashley Bastock at John Carroll University. The NCAA reached a preliminary settlement in a class action lawsuit brought forward by former athletes that will change the treatment which over 420,000 NCAA athletes received after a concussion. The new ruling requires trained medical professionals to be on hand during any contact sporting event, such as football, soccer, and hockey games and practices. Athletes would also be barred from returning to play the day of a concussion injury. Dr. Kirsten Hawkins, chief of adolescent medicine at MedStar Georgetown University Hospital, specializes in pediatric concussion care and says the ruling fits along with their protocol.
Our typical recommendations, they should never return to play the day of an injury, regardless of whether they feel fine.
Until now, the NCAA has only offered guidance, a recommendation that athletes should stay on the bench after a concussion. But the required presence of medical personnel may help prevent youth who shouldn't be playing to stay off the field.
One of the issues I find, though, is a lot of youth want to return to play, and so they may be underreporting some of those symptoms.
In May, Tori Bellucci, a highly decorated high school soccer player at Huntingtown High School in Maryland, introduced President Obama at the Healthy Kids and Safe Sports Concussion Summit at the White House.
I'm so proud of you. Good luck.
Tori, a recently graduated senior, has been struggling with the effects of the 6 concussions she sustained on the soccer field.
There's a wide range of symptoms that I have. A lot, obviously, big ones, headaches, mood swings, really bad, my mom will tell you. Sensitivity to light and noise, it's hard to concentrate.
And even though the new ruling aims at improving the NCAA's concussion management, because of her lingering symptoms, Tori decided to quit soccer for good, giving up a full scholarship to Towson University in Maryland.
No doctor can tell you, like, okay, this is your last one. You have one more strike. You don't know, like, how bad the next one's going to be. So that was kind of tough to be like, it was my decision, and then to be okay with that.
Like many high school and college athletes, Tori has faced adversity because of her post-concussion symptoms. However, she believes playing soccer for most of her childhood was worthwhile.
I wouldn't change anything, honestly, because I had the time of my life playing, and I made so many friendships that way, and I learned how to be a leader, and I learned how to be a teammate and work with other people.
While Dr. Hawkins appreciates the value of the lessons competitive sports can teach young women, she'd prefer that her own children avoid the risk of concussion injuries.
I'll be honest, I'm glad that I have girls, and they don't want to be playing contact football.
Ashley Bastock, NBC News, Washington.
Now, live. This is the Serpentini Chevrolet Sports Report on 19 Action News.
Welcome to the Sports Report, everybody. I'm Ashley Bastock. Well, we asked for it, and now it's finally here, the college football playoffs, and Ohio State is ready for Alabama. The Sugar Bowl is Thursday night, and despite injuries and controversy, the Buckeyes fought their way in, and Urban Meyer loves the national spotlight for his team.
This playoff is just a perfect example that, I can't imagine the interest level being any greater than any sport in college football.
If you're an SEC person, it's always a special treat to be able to be a part of the Sugar Bowl. The University of Alabama and the Sugar Bowl have a great tradition and history of, I think this is our 14th appearance here, and a lot of great tradition and all that for a lot of years.
Well, now on to that school up north. There's a new boss in Ann Arbor, Jim Harbaugh, introduced today by University of Michigan officials who also announced his $5 million a year deal. But Harbaugh isn't too keen on being called the Wolverine savior.
I'm not comfortable with that at all. As I said, as I said, this is I'm standing on a foundation that has been built for over 100 years by some great men.
Brian Hoyer versus Johnny Manziel. It was a familiar rivalry for Browns fans, but it's unlikely to continue in 2015. Hoyer continues to insist that Johnny's presence will not prevent him from re-signing with the Browns, and that seems likely because he's seen Johnny flounder both on and off the field and has to like his chances. But it will more than likely be money that causes Hoyer to move on. Some team may bump him up from $1 million a year to $5 or $6, but it probably won't be the Browns.
If he wants to be back, that leverage is definitely in his court to make that happen. Assuming that we can agree to that deal and what that deal looks like, then that opportunity is available. If we can't come to that agreement, then he obviously would not be back. So I think that there's a lot of work to be done in that regard. And I would say from a business perspective, people don't always see eye to eye.
Now on to some Buckeye basketball. They hosted Iowa this afternoon, but it did not end well as they fell to the Hawkeyes 71-65. Jared Udoff had 18 in the contest. Well, the Cavaliers take on the Hawks tonight in Atlanta. You can catch it on WUAB My 43 at 7:30. And that's all for the Sports Report today. Catch us at 11. I'm Ashley Bastock.